All right, good morning. We are late. Running late this morning, but good morning. Marriage Matters Facebook Live, Marriage Matters family.
Good morning. Trying to get there.
And it's giving y'all time to get your coffee and conversation and tag somebody, share the video, get it going. Oh, I'm using the wrong camera. I didn't even hook it up. I think we're gonna be okay though.
I don't know. You want to go ahead?
It looks pretty good.
It's okay with that?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, so it's gonna be some silence or something because I want to get my coffee, and you should get yours too. I don't see anything in the chat, so maybe I need to go in and type good morning because I don't see nobody
Oh,
say
so
it.
you know what? Hold on.
I
Because you know
forgot
they
how
changed it.
some
All right, there
comments
we
right
go.
there.
So good morning. We got some people in here. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
They say two. It's supposed to be 350,000 people. And it say,
350,000 people. Well,
yeah.
y'all come on. Y'all need to share it, like it.
So how do you know who this is?
You don't until they type something in the
That
chat.
might be us because they say one viewer. That might be us. We're gonna be in here with our own selves today.
We're gonna be in here with our own selves today.
That might be that Instagram right there. That might be the one view you get. So let us give you some context on why you have not seen us. Last week was Millicent and Nailani's birthday. And so their birthday is on the same day. Millicent had Nailani on the 29th of January. So that was their day. And we started out with a lot of stuff. And breakfast and other things took place. And so that was the reason why we weren't on last week. The week before that, I had to go to work on a Saturday. So you didn't see us. And then I think the week before that, we were on our anniversary. And we were gone for 4 days. So that's kind of how it went. You have plenty of videos that you can go back and view and watch for your leisure because we all have things that we can improve on and develop and grow and all of those things. So just wanted to just say that so that you can know why you haven't seen us. Today we're going to be talking about something very simple. It's okay. It is okay.
There we go. Good morning, Miss Charlie. How are you?
Miss Charlie, I am so hungry. I want something.
Can you say good morning?
I did.
To our sister before you start talking about I'm hungry.
I said good morning, Miss Charlie, and I want something to eat.
See, that's
good. I can't
good
type
morning,
it in.
sis.
I was
No,
gonna
you can't type in nothing.
She done did something to make it where I can't type it in, but that's okay.
And Miss Charlie, that is so special. She was born on her mom's birthday.
Oh yeah?
That's a really cool feeling, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know how to share that feeling. But I know one thing. For those that do have to deal with 2 birthdays on one day, pray for me. Because you be trying to come up with different ways. You trying to come up with different ways to celebrate them, and it becomes very difficult. Nobody knows my struggle.
Oh my goodness.
They don't know my struggle when I have to come off of Christmas with an anniversary, which I love my wife, and then anniversary with our daughter's birthday. And then after our daughter's birthday, we come with 2 birthdays on the same day. Nobody knows. The planning and preparation and running around and being sneaky because she always wanting to know what's going on. Then she get upset when she don't know what's going on. And so now she wants to clear her throat because the coffee should have cleared it. But I did well.
You can't even breathe. How you talking about my coffee should have cleared it? You survived. You made it
That's what
another year.
I just gave myself props. I said I did well.
See, you've only had to do that for 18 years.
Oh, okay.
You a champ now.
Yeah. All right. I'm a champ. So it's gonna be some real fun. We're gonna try to make sure that we kind of push, make sure that you get some word, because without that, it's nothing else.
Mm.
So I'm gonna start out and kind of give some context of what we're gonna be doing. When we say it's okay, I want to make it a little bit more clear.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to be okay with expressing how you feel. I want you to be okay with that one sentence. It's okay. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to be happy. It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to be helpful. It's okay. But when our response doesn't line up with the God that we serve, that's when it becomes not okay. Mm-hmm. But we're going to stick on what's okay right now. When we are married or dating, there always going to be there always going to be a meeting of the minds where the two don't agree, or where something from one rubs the other the wrong way. And in that moment, or in that time, or in that cooling down period, someone may be withholding how they really feel. Someone may not be expressing themselves in a way that's healthy for both people if they don't do that. And I've been guilty of that, and I'm working on that. And there's no real answer to uh, why. I think that when you've been conditioned or brought up in a certain way, sometimes that just becomes your thing. And so if you don't really know how people are experiencing you, and you're not open to receiving that kind of feedback, then you run into the wall of you sitting you're sitting on a subway by yourself. Most people that sit on the subway, is always somebody going somewhere. So when we talk about it's okay, we're going to make sure that you understand that all of these feelings or emotions are okay. What's not okay is when you don't express them in a way that exemplifies God's love, His word, and His actions. So this is a scripture that we're going to dive into. It's one that we have heard before, but we're going to spend a little time on it, I guess, when I find it.
I'm going to put the scriptures in the chat as we go, so then that way when you go back and look at the video again or share the video, the scriptures will already be there. Because we don't want you to just sit and listen. We want you to go back and study God's word, meditate on it, and then apply it.
So we're going to go to First Corinthians 13 and 11. I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to get there.
13 and 11?
Yes, and this is the Good News Translation. You've heard this before. It says, when I was a child, my speech, feelings, and thinking were all those of a child. Now that I am an adult, I have no more use for childish ways. So when we talk about expressing our emotions, and we talk about expressing how we feel, you have to find a place of, I won't say contentment, but I think you need to find a place of peace so that you can receive what the person is saying, but give them a response in a way that causes them to think. So, point in case, I give you an example. I had a parent to come and she was cursing and upset because her child phone was confiscated. She in there performing, cursing and saying all these kind of things. And she know that she used to be one of my students. So I gave her a couple of options. She didn't like any of those. And I asked her to come to my office. I said, because you making the scene out here in front of all these people. I don't know. So I said, no problem. So when she got inside, I asked her, what makes you think that it's okay for you to come in here and curse and use all those kind of words? I know I shouldn't be doing it. Then why are you doing it? You know, and her response was, well, this, and this, and I'm not going to do this. I said, well, I tell you what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to give you the phone. And so she said who she was going to call and all that stuff. And long story short, she came with that credit card. She paid for what she needed to pay for. And, but I'm not a person that gets offended with profanity. I'm not that person. Now, I'm not going to let you do that in my house. But when people say things like that, you either join in and use the same kind of words, or you carry yourself in such a way that they know that, okay, well, he's not saying that. She's not saying that. So that may be something I need to go back and think about. But I definitely will call you to the carpet on it. But the reason why I said that is this scripture, it brings about so much challenge in grown people. Because grown people think that they can say and do whatever they want. And the reason why they do that is because they don't know who they are. And they don't know who they belong to. So they feel like it's okay. I tell kids this all the time. When you see me cussing at the school, then you can cuss. Other than that, you need to find some other ways in order to express how you feel. Because you're not going to be using those kind of words. And if you don't use those words in front of your parent, you're not going to use them in front of me. On the flip side, some of them use those words in front of their parent, and their parents don't do anything. So, when I was a child, my speech, feelings, and thinking were all those of a child. Now that I am an adult, I have no more use for childish ways. So the question becomes, who is really an adult? You might want to sit and marinate in that for a while. Who is really an adult? Who are you when nobody else is watching? Not the grown people around you. Who are you in the eyes of God when nobody else is watching? Who are you when you are battle tested on something like that and you need to express yourself? Who are you when nobody else is watching? I'm saying that for a whole lot of reasons. We get upset with each other, and then we exhibit some mannerisms, feelings, emotions, and some of them are not healthy. And so, because of that, the response that you get might not be the one that you want. So that in turn has the plane spiraling and it's about to crash. So we're going to get to a place where we can really focus on something. And it's so simple. It's simple. I mean, it's simpler than slicing bread. And so this is the thing that's so funny about the Bible. Now, I just read that it says, when I was a child, my speech, feelings, and thinking were those of a child. Now that I'm an adult, I have no more use for childish ways. Now I'm going to take you to 2 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse number 11. Now, first we was in 1 Corinthians 13 and 11. I'm going to take you to 2 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse number 11. And boy, this is going to really blow your mind. So I'm going to go to 2 Corinthians, and I'm going to go to chapter, what happened? I'm going to go to 2 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse number 11. And this is what it says. Because this is what we do when we want to try to justify when we spiral out of control and our actions or our responses are not that of a godly nature. I am acting like a fool, but you have made me do it. Now, I did not say that. I'm going to hand my phone over to my wife. I'm going to highlight it right here. Oh, where did I go? Right there. And then I'm going to boom. And just read that first sentence, what it says in the Good News Translation.
I am acting like a fool, but you have made me do it.
Uh-huh.
You're the ones who ought to show your approval of me.
But that's it. I just wanted you to read
Oh, okay.
I want you to read the first sentence because a lot of times when we get to cutting up, we want to put the blame on somebody else. It was something that you said or it was something that you did. So then I got out of character to try to get with you. So in essence, you took yourself from a standard of being a queen or a king and you lowered yourself to the level of whatever that was. And then you started performing your play. And that's not what we want.
Now, don't get me wrong. We've all done it. It's done, and it's nothing you can go back to do to
Yeah.
change that. But just try to use it as the platform moving forward.
Oh no, this ain't nothing about pointing fingers and stuff like that. It's just that the Bible even says it. I'm acting a fool. It says I'm acting like a fool, but you have made me do it. That's what we do.
And I don't know about him, but I'm gonna be the first to say it. I've never read that before ever in my life.
Yeah, well, I found
Never.
it. I found it.
I've never seen that before ever.
I found it. And so sometimes we take that option and we do that. And it is a normal human reaction. It is a normal human way of dealing with stuff. I did not say it was the right way of dealing with stuff, but it's stuff that we do.
Right.
So I just want to challenge you that when we talk about expressing feelings and emotions, when we get down to that, I'm gonna keep it. I promise you, I'm gonna keep it to like 2 or 3 sentences because, like I said, it's gonna be easier to kind of channel this than sliced bread. So let's transition to Proverbs chapter 1, and I gotta get over there. I'm sorry, y'all. My allergies, I'm not doing too well, but I thank God that I'm okay. So if y'all see me grab some tissue and all that, I know that may seem nasty to you, but I'm just the weather kind of got to me. I had to wrap up some pipes that day, and it was raining there. Now I'm paying for it. So let's go to Proverbs chapter 1, and we're gonna look at verse 23 and 24. I think, yeah. All right. This is God talking to us. Let me highlight 24 too. So this is God talking to us, and it's kind of like that thing, like So on Friday, no, on Thursday, I was talking to Millicent, and I was getting ready to go do something where I was going to be with some guys, and so I asked her to. I didn't want leftovers, and so I asked her to do something else, and so the look on her face, it didn't really agree with doing something else. Leftovers was what was available. And so my response was not that good. And so then it elicited another response. But her response was really to back up and I need you to dial it back. And so I went in the room. I came back out. I apologized. And then I kept moving because there was nothing to have no argument about. And we didn't even have an argument about it. It didn't get to that point. It shouldn't have. And so that's an expression of being able to deal with emotions because they were effectively communicated. It's just both parties didn't like what was being asked of them. I didn't like the fact that I didn't want no leftovers, and she didn't like the fact that she was gonna have to cook something else. That was it. So we was at an impasse. but we was able to get through it. I apologized. So in Proverbs chapter 1 and verse number 23 and 24, it says, listen when I reprimand you. I will give you good advice and share my knowledge with you. And then verse number 24 says, I have been calling you, inviting you to come, but you would not listen. You paid no attention to me. So I'm going to pump that right quick. First, we just talked about when we have an emotion and we express it in a way that if I guess we want to win or we just want to get it out, but it's not channeled in a way where we can go on to the next level of whatever that conversation is. And when you express an emotion and it's just a snap at somebody, then there's no movement. That's it. You know, people gonna go their opposite ways, or it's gonna be that tit for tat going back and forth. Now, when you have that moment and the Spirit of the Lord is speaking to you about, hey, I need you to breathe. I need you to pause. And you're not doing that. Your mind is steady saying, I'm finna get in his stuff. You know.
And this is saying breathe, pause, slow down. You ain't paying this no attention at all.
And then when you know with the Lord, he gonna say, watch this, y'all in heaven. Popcorn time. Watch them. Because I ain't finna go in there and make them listen. Because I've given them the tools. They are ready and available. But a part of having tools is that you got to realize that you actually need to use them. Okay. And so what I've understood and what I'm learning is a part of emotions and feelings is you need to effectively communicate them. So we're going to get to that, but I really want to just kind of set the stage for one, the maturity of an adult, male or female. When you are not emotionally mature, then you do whatever. And that is not something I can do for you. That is not something you can do for me other than pray for me. But in the moments of frustration, anger, and whatever other words you want to call it, resentment, or just whatever, God is speaking to you. And he's telling you that is not the way. Okay?
You know, I had that analogy when you were talking about using the tools, you know, so like when you bought me that desk, you know, for work, it came in a huge box, extremely heavy, lots of parts, lots of instructions. But if you didn't use the tools to put it together, it would never be a desk. It would just be a bunch of pieces of wood in a box, not being used to its full potential. So when you take the tools and use them according to the instructions, you get the product that you can use to the full potential.
Instructions. That's why it says in here, listen when I reprimand you. I will give you good advice and share my knowledge with you. God tell you, I ain't gonna tell you nothing crazy. I might ask you to do something you might not understand because you ain't used to doing it, because you're so used to doing it your way, and your way don't line up with my way, and then you keep crashing your plane. How many more planes I'm supposed to give you? Bible says he'll forgive you 70 times 70. So just equate that to keep giving you a plane. Oh, she's taking off. Oh, he's taking off. He's at the altitude of cruising altitude, but it's 30,000 feet. That's above all the turbulence and everything, and you good. But here comes turbulence. Plane starts wavering. To fly above that, you have to get permission from the tower to ever go above 30,000 feet. But when you get the permission, you can go up there. But you got to first ask for it. And so when you having that issue, you ain't gonna get no you're not gonna get the permission from God when you already decided that you done made your decision. So going back, So let's just kind of wrap this up in this scripture. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to turn it around. Oh no, I don't have to do anything. So so for verse number 25, Proverbs chapter 1. Now we're going to look at 25 through 28.
Oh my gosh.
This is where
Mm.
this is where you, me, he, them, us, they, all of us. This is where we miss it.
Mm.
It says in verse 20, Proverbs chapter 1, 25 through 28. So when we don't express our emotions in the correct way, and we allow for the lack of self-control to be a part of what we do, this is what happens. It says, you have ignored all my advice and have not been willing to let me correct you.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get in trouble, I will laugh at you. That's what he said. He says, I will make fun of you when terror strikes, when it comes on you like a storm, bringing fierce winds of trouble, and you are in pain and misery. When you don't listen and you have tools, you have instructions, you have a Bible, you have a cell phone with I don't know how many different translations. You mad? You don't want to turn pages? All you gotta do is pick up your cell phone, hit Bible app, go to I'm frustrated. Boom. Go to frustration. Here's something on frustration. But when you take I knocked myself on my page. So when you take on the fact that you don't want to take that route and you decide that you're finna get him or her, and you're not going to take heed to wise counsel, mm-hmm. Bible says, well, I don't know how many weeks or months it's going to take, but we're going to sit up here and we're going to back up. Mm-hmm. And so while you sitting there acting a nut, he's saying, now you finna go in here and pray. Lord, this woman, Lord, this man. And I wish audibly he would just flat out laugh so you could look around and see nobody else in the room. But you don't even have to worry about it. Now that you got the word, you can go and see. You being made fun of because you did not use the tools from the instruction book. So,
but not to cut you off, but that's one thing I definitely want us to do. Um, is when we do feel it getting elevated, we do feel it getting heated. Somebody got to be that person that says, "Hey, okay, all right, let's back up." You know, so that gives people time to, you got to like do like the boxers do and go to your opposite corners, and get you a drink of water and breathe and sit down and, calm down and do whatever you have to do. Then you come back after that. That gives your brain time to regroup and get some oxygen so you can think straight so the appropriate words can come out of your mouth.
Yeah.
That takes, but that takes practice because I put myself out there. I can get real flip real quick and don't think about nothing coming me wrong, and I can just it's time I follow that. So we have to, when you talk about the spiritual maturity, at some point in time we have to grow. You want to keep going through the same stuff. What is it? It's called insanity. Keep doing the same thing and expecting to get a different result.
That is correct.
We got to do something different. So it's okay to back up and pause. It's okay to stop and think.
Okay.
It's okay to do those things. So watch this, so then it can be okay.
Then be okay. So Hebrews 10 and 36 says this. I'm telling you, the Bible gonna make everything. I think the who makes stuff difficult to understand is us. Mm-hmm. But some things in the Bible are real simple, and I think we get perplexed when stuff is simple right in our face, and we think because we're reading the Bible, it needs to be this big riddle. Some stuff is right in your face. You need to take that stuff and run with it. So in Hebrews chapter 10 and verse number 36, I'm waiting on you to type it up. There you go. So in Hebrews chapter 10, verse 36, it says, you need to be patient in order to do the will of God and receive what he promises. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to be patient with yourself that you believe that you want to change when you're using the tools. Whether the tools come from the Bible, whether they come from if you're dealing with therapy or whatever, if you've been given tools, then it's a tool. Mm-hmm. So the reality is you need to be patient with yourself and others. But this says you need to be patient in order to do the will of God and receive what he promises. Mm-hmm. You're not going to always get that cookie cutter microwave response or blessing. You didn't get that way overnight. He didn't get that way overnight. Right. So that's going to have to be some patience. Why should there be patience? He ought to be grown, and that's the problem. Grown and being a mature adult is not even the same conversation. Yeah. I think that we got that problem. Mm-hmm. I'm grown, I can do what I want to do. That tells me right there that you're not a mature adult, that you are acting in the 1 Corinthians 13 and 11. When you was a child, you thought as a child, you thought as, and you reacted as a child. But now that you're an adult, you haven't put away the childish ways, so you are not a mature adult. Mm-hmm. You're just an adult by the definition of America.
And I'm gonna tell you this to really make that really clarify that part for people who may not still get it. And I had never heard this. It's a guy that I listen to. His name is Tony Gaskins.
Okay.
And he's on YouTube a lot. I never really understood that when I heard him say one day, you're dating a grown boy. Mm-hmm. A grown boy and an adult man is two different things. Yes, ma'am. A grown girl and an adult woman is two different things.
Yeah, it's two different things. And so when we can come to terms with that and know, mm-hmm. and even if you find yourself going back and forth, because I don't think we want to admit that, mm-hmm. that there are sometimes we slip out of being a grown adult male and female, mm-hmm. or a grown adult man and woman, and we slip back into being,
a grown
boy or girl. Yeah. There are some actions and there are some things that we do, and we put ourselves in that position. Mm-hmm. So let me give you some context so now that we can land the plane. So if Millicent is upset with me and she decides to say, I'm mad, that doesn't really give me any context to why she's mad. But if Millicent tells me, I'm frustrated with the comment that you made that I'm lazy, then she has effectively communicated why she's mad, but she used another word, frustrated. Mad is broad. Mm-hmm. And when we want to communicate a feeling or an emotion to somebody, be specific. If you are scared, don't say, well, I don't like to do that. No, that doesn't tell nobody that you afraid. Mm-hmm. I think I was looking at something yesterday and the lady didn't want to get on something. I just don't want to do it. Mm-hmm. They didn't tell the guy that I'm afraid of heights.
Or hey, I had a bad experience as a child, yeah. And something.
And they didn't tell the guy that, it didn't lend to the real reason, mm-hmm. why the person didn't want to do it. You saying you don't want to do it, and be like, well, you want to try nothing new? I don't want to do it. Well, why? I just don't want to do it. Instead of saying, I'm afraid of heights. It makes me nauseous. Right. I may throw up on you. Because I guarantee if you tell me that, I ain't got to worry about doing it with you then. We'll do something else. But the reality is, the easy thing to do is when you want to communicate how you feeling with somebody or feeling because of something they said or did, be specific. Don't be broad because nobody understands what that means.
And now watch this, when you be specific
Uh,
in your communication, it makes you be intentional
uh,
about how you move with that person.
I mean, they definitely gonna know. Instead of them trying to wonder.
Mm-hmm.
Now we got two people that's not in the same space.
Mm-hmm.
One is upset with the other, and they don't really know because they
Right.
can't pinpoint it because they were never effectively communicated.
Right, right.
Be specific. It's frustrating when you cut me off when I'm speaking.
Mm-hmm.
See, I can understand that,
Mm-hmm.
but I ain't gonna understand that if you just go off and bring it to my attention
Right.
that that's what I'm doing. You go off because you just go off. Now I'm thinking that we communicating, but we really not
Mm-hmm.
because I keep cutting you off. Like you speak. So that's kind of the thing. This is not some rocket science about how to be able to express emotions. The thing is, if there's an emotion, clearly communicate what that is.
Mm-hmm.
You
But
know.
again, that's being intentional about how you navigate with others.
Uh,
You know, this is a year of intentionality. Be intentional in everything that you do.
yes.
Your communication, be intentional about how you handle other people and their feelings. Just be intentional. Because when you're intentional about something, you're focused, you're paying attention, you're listening, and you're trying to apply what you have to the situation. All of that entails being intentional.
So I know that we've talked about, communication and stuff in different facets, but I really wanted to push the fact that when you are upset, when you're not happy with somebody, when you are perturbed or PO'd or whatever, pissed off, if you want me to say that, if you feel like that, it's okay to feel like that. What is not okay is when the response is only to hurt and not to like build a bridge of communication so that both people can walk across it. Absolutely. Meaning that if I'm on this side of the bridge, I understand what you're going through. If you're on the other side of the bridge, I understand what you're going through. Not that we're gonna go across the bridge and hey, we're gonna set a charge and blow it up in the middle, and now we can't meet back in the middle. No, it's that when you say something to hurt, then it's not okay. Because that's not what we're trying to effectively communicate. What we're trying to do is make sure that it's very simple. Just say how, what you're feeling and use a very specific word. Not cursing and saying all kind of profanities, because all they say is that you're angry. And everybody don't want to experience that. And when a person don't experience you, you think you getting away with something or you feel like you done won because I bet you they won't say nothing else to me. They're not.
Exactly.
They're not gonna say nothing else to you.
You know, you can feel however you want to feel, but you still need to be careful how you handle people.
Yeah.
You know, because you don't know what that other person has gone through, experienced, or whatever. And I understand it's not, doesn't have anything to do with you, but still, you can be that one person to say that one last wrong thing that may set them off. So be careful how you handle people. It's okay to express your feelings. Hey, when you did this or when you didn't do this, it made me feel da 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 da. But just to come at somebody like they a doggone matador in a bull ring and they got on all red. No, that's not the way you handle people. We supposed to learn how to treat people, handle people, communicate with people in love.
Amen. So
And not stand at the other end of the wooden bridge with a match. Talking about, yeah, I wanna communicate with you. I want us to get better, but the whole time I got a match in my hand. Yeah. I'm ready to set that joke on fire in a minute.
So now I think that I just want all of us to just focus on being specific. Say whatever that emotion is, be able to communicate that. Not you hurt my feelings. That ain't enough. That tells me nothing. You hurt my feelings.
When you did,
Yeah.
dot, dot, dot.
You said, I don't give a And that really,
Exactly.
and that, so let's just take this.
Okay.
Let's say that you said something and you got one of them spouses that curse and use all that kind of foolishness. And they curse and say all these things. And you say, you just hurt my feelings. But if you communicate to them and say, when you said those words to me, they lowered my self-esteem and made me feel inadequate. I guarantee you communicated the lowness of how you felt to the person.
Absolutely. That's a whole different
That's a
ballgame.
different way. And so when you communicate that, they ain't got no choice but to understand, that this is what you make me feel like.
Now,
You
here's the other thing, the other part of that. They're going to understand, but then what are their actions after you put that information out there?
Go back to
What are they doing?
then you go back to Hebrews 10 and 36, and it says, "Be patient," because the response that you may be wanting right then, you may not get, because they may have to go and let that marinate, because now it wasn't a cursing back and forth. It was a clear communication about, you said this to me and you made me feel less than a woman. You hurt the very core of my soul. I guarantee you that's different than you hurt my feelings. You know, you hurt the core of my soul, that part where I love you the most. You hurt that. I guarantee you they may not respond the way you want to right then. But the fact that you effectively communicated your emotion in that space and time, be patient. Hebrews 10 and 36. When you are patient, then you will receive the promises of God, or you receive what He promises. And so, uh, let's just dial it back. Speak clearly about how you feel. It ain't got to be no knockdown, drag out.
Just be specific.
Be specific and not broad. Because I think what it's saying in here is that, let me see, I don't know if it says expressing emotions. Happy, it said normally people express emotions in these four areas: happy, excited, sad, or angry. But that don't really tell me nothing if you're happy. If you tell me you're happy because you won the lottery, oh goodness gracious, I think I know why you're happy. You know what I'm saying? But if you just say you're happy, well, why are you happy? So, but when you say you're afraid, are you upset, are you frustrated, or you feel anxious about something, I think there's a more clear descriptive word about how to say what that is you're feeling. And so we have come to the end, and I hope that this is something that you can go back and look and read, and you kind of study and just digest that thing. This is where I want you to kind of focus your attention. If somebody is cutting up and they do something in front of you, I really want you to take the time, and I'm talking about kind of like a family now. Take the time to go back and ask them, what message were you trying to convey when you said that?
That's good.
Because the person now is very ticked off at you. You said something, and I think I understood what you wanted to convey, but you didn't do it in that way. So what was your true intent?
Right.
And I think that when you coach them and when we coach each other in that aspect, then we build on the maturity level and we minimize, if not eliminate, diving back into being an adult boy or girl. I think we minimize or eliminate that by really practicing on addressing that or helping others to see how they were uh, experienced. I think that when somebody say that this is how I experience you when you're upset, I think it's a different understanding of the communication.
If it's not, it should be.
Yeah,
Because that should make you take a step back and look at yourself.
this is how I experience you, and they communicate those words.
Oh, wow.
I think they might not say nothing that day, like I tell you.
Because they may have no idea that they even coming off like that.
Yes, I've been told that.
I'm sure.
So I think that that's one of the things that really makes life so unique, and that as you grow and develop as a person, you can continue to push that. So I'm really excited about hearing some praise reports about how you were able to help somebody navigate that, if not yourself, but just kind of look at that. Because I think that it's a life building skill that can really help develop a very tender area in anybody's life. Right. Excuse me. So we're going to close it down. We thank you for spending time with us. All the people that were on the call, Miss Parker, Miss Charlie, Miss Gay. Miss Gay, do you know that we finna be grandparents, Miss Gay? Michaela finna have a baby, Miss Gay. She finna have a baby, and I think we both know what it is. She thinks she know, but we know. I'm waiting on Miss Gay to type in something. Come on, Miss Gay. You didn't get off the call, did you? So she doing late July, August? Yeah. So yeah. Yes! All right. So we excited. We'll keep you in the loop, Miss Gay, let you know what's going on. But that's where we are. So if you don't know the ages, Miss Gay, Michaela's 25, Gerald is 22, Talia is 20, and Leilani just turned 18. So just want to make sure you knew the ages of them, all them babies you kept all those years, and how you instill some godly values in our kids. We greatly appreciate that. Your fruit, you get a chance to see what you did. That's the good thing about life for that. Yes, amen. That's the one thing about life. If you live long enough and you sowing into the lives of people, the fact that you can see seeds pop out and grow. Because everybody don't always get a chance to be able to see the end result of things that you planted. Sometimes we are the ones that do the planting, and others reap the reward of what the result is. And sometimes, but when you get an opportunity in life and you can see the blessing of a seed that you planted, oh boy, I don't even know no other feeling that's greater than that. Give people their flowers while they can see them. So everybody that keep your children ain't godly, don't do things right or whatever, but when you find that one that not only keep your children, but pray over your children and teach your children how to pray in the absence of you, you know you got the one that was God sent. So Miss Gay, we give all that to you and we thank you because you did that for all four of our babies. Thank you, Miss Gay. We love you. So we gonna shut it down. Have a great Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your day. Love on each other. Please share this video, like this video, tag somebody in the video. Because again, we're all about helping to nourish, nurture, cultivate, inspire, uplift, elevate, and pray for one another. Amen. That's what it's all about. All right, you gonna close us out? So we'll see you all next Saturday to discuss more marriage matters. Because your marriage matters. Bye. Y'all have a great weekend. Love you too. Love you. Was that Glenn DeAndy's wife on there? Wow, I will say now that was trying to this year.